Hi friends, in today's video, I wanted to highlight some modern day poor man's meals, also known on this channel as extreme budget meals. I'm focusing on dishes with just a few ingredients that can be thrown together quickly. I want to highlight some uses for this canned chicken, and I also have a vegetarian meal. Of course, any of these can be made vegetarian, and likewise, meat can be added to the vegetarian dish that I'll be making. For this meal, I've priced out rice using the long grain Great Value brand at 5 pounds for $2.94, which is 59 cents per pound. Obviously, you can get it much cheaper by buying larger quantities. Walmart currently has 20 pounds for $10.24, which is 51 cents per pound. The chicken bouillon I'm using comes in at 2 cents per serving, so I'll probably be using 4 cents worth for this first dish, and this is available for $5.98 at Sam's Club, and that includes 287 servings. I've also seen this for a great price at Aldi. You may have already guessed it, for my first dish I'll be making a broccoli rice casserole. Frequently, when casseroles are made, canned soups are used like cream of chicken or cream of celery, and those act as a thickening agent. Here, we're going to just go ahead and skip that step and use bouillon and flour. It's much less expensive, and the ingredients are very similar. Although I would argue that you can control the level of the flavor much easier using bouillon. Notice I added a little bit more oil to the pan because you kind of want to have enough oil in there to where your flour turns out looking like this. So it's okay to add more if you see you need to. If you've been watching my channel lately, you will know that this is how I make gravy, but you can also use this method to make sauces and to thicken soups and casseroles. I'm going to want it to be a little bit thinner than gravy so that it just thickens my casserole, and I'm going to be adding rice into this as well. And I'll let this boil and I'll whisk out any of the lumps. Once this is whisked, I'm going to go ahead and add in some bouillon. You can add as much as you feel you'll want. You can always taste it and see, where you want it to be. I'm trying to cut down on the sodium, so I only added 2 teaspoons in, and that was perfect for me. But again, you might want to try and taste it, and it's going to depend on the kind of bouillon that you're using as well. So I just go ahead and add in the rice. And another thing too is that you can actually end up cooking this in a Dutch oven or in a regular pan if you want to. I'm sure that you could also cook it in a slow cooker or in an Instant Pot. I'm sure that would be fine. But I'm going to end up finishing mine off in the toaster oven. I'm not going to cook the broccoli and drain it or anything like that. I'm just going to cut it into bite-sized pieces and then throw it in the pan. I cook with a lot of fresh food just because that's what I prefer to eat, but I do realize I want to start using more frozen foods because I do have some viewers that live kind of far away from stores, and so using items like frozen foods and frozen veggies is going to be a lot easier for them to make. This is one of those meals that I love to make when it's cold outside or it's raining. Casseroles and soups and stews and things like that are perfect this time of year. I wanted to highlight using these little cans of chicken because number 1, they're cheap, number 2, they're shelf stable, and number 3, they're delicious. I've been inspired by my son. He makes some really great meals with this stuff. Obviously, if you have a larger budget, you can add a bigger can in or 2 cans or whatever. But for this meal, I'm just using 1 because it's going to give your family a taste of meat and it's going to taste really delicious. By dehydrating the chicken, we're condensing the flavor, and even though we're going to add it to broth, it's going to taste really, really good. I'm adding in this Cajun seasoning. It adds so much flavor. And I'm also going to show you this back of this Cajun seasoning because if you don't have it, really all it is just garlic, paprika, cayenne pepper, and looks like red and green bell peppers. If you've never done this to your canned chicken, I definitely recommend it. It makes your house smell amazing, and it just gives such a good flavor to the chicken. As you can see, our mixture is already thick, so we're just going to go ahead and add our chopped frozen broccoli on top. After 30 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and check just to make sure that my rice is tender. If you wanted to, you could certainly add cheese onto this, or, pretty much any other kind of vegetable that you wanted to throw in there. This is the exact texture that I like mine to be, but if you like yours a little bit creamier, a little bit looser, certainly you can add more liquid in. You can also top this with cheese. If you do that, this meal will come in right around $3. I do have some cheese in my fridge, so I'm just going to add a little bit to a part of the casserole. It tastes delicious and has great flavor even without any cheese, so I would be happy to serve it just like that. If you're a vegetarian, you can make this vegetarian by simply using the vegetable broth and omitting the chicken. If you're a vegan, you can omit the cheese and the chicken and use the vegetable bouillon, and it still makes a great meal. I'm definitely a cheese lover, so this is my favorite way to eat it, and I think that adding the cheese on top adds a nice texture to it. My son Justin really loved this meal too. After it had cooled, I put this in the fridge, and he had eaten it later on that night when he got home, and he basically just put it in the microwave, and he told me the next day how much he loved it. If you don't have enough money for food and you're trying to feed your family, but you do want to feed them a little bit of meat, a casserole is definitely the way to go, because even that one small can of meat really goes a long way in a dish like this. There are 3 other dishes besides casserole that I could think of that can be made with the same ingredients and come in at the same cost, obviously. The next one is chicken fried rice. If you're on a budget, hopefully fried rice is already in your rotation. This canned chicken works perfectly in that. And for this, you'll want to prepare the chicken the way I showed you earlier. However, instead, season it with a little garlic powder. The pan fry method will make sure that the flavor of the chicken is concentrated before adding it into your fried rice. I like to use a carrot as my vegetable in the fried rice because I can usually get a fresh carrot for about 15 to 20 cents, and it's therefore the cheapest option. Frozen peas and carrots can also be used in fried rice, and they are currently 84 cents at Walmart, and you'd be using about half of the bag, so it would only be slightly more than the carrot, but that's definitely an option. Here are my figures for chicken fried rice for a family of 4 for $2.17. If you added an egg, the meal would be $2.73. When I was pricing out the egg, I was shocked to find that the 6 packs of eggs at Walmart just went up from $2.58 2 weeks ago to $3.37 now, which is a 79-cent jump. So I'm not sure what's going on with eggs, but that's a very drastic jump in price. I pulled some footage of a previous time on my channel when I had made egg fried rice using chicken bouillon as a flavor component. In this video, I was using brown rice, and I also used some soy sauce, but you can actually make a decent fried rice without the soy sauce. So if you don't have it, it's not a big deal. don't think I showed it in the clip, but I always add garlic powder to my fried rice. If I was adding in the canned chicken, I would toss it in right at the end. I love adding sesame oil to my rice, but it'll still be delicious even if you don't have it. I just think that that makes a great component, and if you watch the channel, you know how much I love sesame oil. It's pretty much good on everything. I did come across this photo of when we made chicken fried rice with broccoli, and also a time when I made a one-pot rice dish with ground turkey in my rice maker. The ingredients were very similar to fried rice. I just simply made it in my rice cooker. I love this option when you want a very fast weeknight meal. You could just make the same dish, just swap out the canned chicken for where I added in the turkey, but it's basically just the same ingredients. I had brown rice, a carrot, an egg, and some bouillon, but you could also add any kind of vegetable to this that you wanted, like maybe a thing of broccoli or some cauliflower. Green beans would be good as well. Earlier, I showed you 4 meals that can be made with these ingredients. The third meal is chicken and rice soup with carrots. That's a fairly simple soup that just consists of throwing all the ingredients in the pot and seasoning to taste. For this dish, I would just add my canned chicken directly into the soup and garnish with some chopped parsley if you have it. Some of you may remember when I discovered congee while doing one of my $1 a day videos. I talked about how it's a popular rice porridge that's being eaten in many different parts of the world and goes by many different names. In China, it's known as congee or beijao. In Japan, it's kayu. It's called juk in South Korea, lugao in the Philippines, and in Indonesia, it's called bubur ayam. Basically, they're all rice porridges with different toppings depending on the region. I'll link that video in the description area for your reference. When I was looking at these ingredients, I realized we have everything we need to make chicken congee. You want to start by cooking a small amount of rice in a large nonstick pan, and then just keep adding water as it thickens. It'll soak up the water, and you'll just need to keep adding more and more water, but what we want here is for it to cook low and slow until the rice breaks down and thickens into a porridge. And it takes quite a while for the rice to actually break down. If you don't have a nonstick pan, you might find that the bottom of the pan is burning as the rice thickens. The first time I made this was in my Dutch oven, and I did have a little bit of difficulty with it sticking, so this time I tried with the nonstick pan, and I didn't have any sticking, although I was stirring it frequently. But as you can see, it's really broken down now, and what I want to do is pull a little bit out and see what it tastes like as a rice porridge. And then I'm going to put a little bit of butter in it and some sugar. I don't have any other seasonings in this at all at this point. So I just wanted to see if this would be a good option. I know a lot of times people are making rice porridge where they add in milk, but I thought I would just see if this tastes fine without it. This was tasty and would be a great option for breakfast. I think I would like mine a little bit less thick, so maybe more water next time. I also tried it with brown sugar, and that was probably my favorite. I've seen this breakfast porridge topped with Chinese yam and goji berries. I bet that's really good. You only need a little bit of rice to make this porridge. I made a lot more than I expected. I ended up separating it into 2 parts, and then I added a little bit of the chicken bouillon and about a half of a large grated carrot. I'm going to treat my canned chicken the way I did earlier. I'm going to add in some Cajun seasoning and garlic powder. This time I'm going to fry it in the oil, and I'm going to fry it until it becomes a little bit crispy. I want it chewy and full of flavor because this is going to be a garnish for the top of my congee. If you're having any kinds of digestive difficulties at all, this is a great thing to make because it's super easy on the digestion, which is why congee is frequently fed to babies, the elderly, and the sick. I remember that in Indonesia, they top their bubur ayam with shredded chicken. I don't know that they actually cook it to the extent that I did, but I think this is going to be a great balance for the texture of the congee. Oh my gosh, this was so good. Okay, that chicken on the top makes the dish. However, that was the wrong spoon for this kind of a meal, so I grabbed the wooden spoon, and this was perfect because you could get just the right amount of chicken with each and every bite. This was super flavorful. You could taste the chicken underneath, and the shredded carrots gave it a light sweetness to the dish that really went well with the chicken topping, because the chicken topping was a little bit salty but also chewy, so it really worked well as a balance. I'm excited to try this next one that just has the chunks of the carrot. I think I like the presentation and the flavor of this one slightly better. I added just a touch more of the bouillon to this one, and it was phenomenal. My son loved it as well. I think this was a win all the way around. This is a great budget meal for $1.85. You can feed a family of 4. This is the ultimate in comfort food, and I assure you, if you like chicken, you're gonna love this topping. There are so many different things you can do with this congee canvas. It is truly exciting. If you wanted to make this a vegetarian, you could actually add that TVP that we've been using in some of my previous videos and do the same thing that I did with the chicken to that, adding the seasoning in there, and then of course you would use your vegetarian bouillon. But you could basically make the same kind of congee, just make it vegetarian. But anyway, this is good. If you haven't tried it, I would definitely give it a try. It is truly exciting to those eating on a budget. Next, I'll be using flour and bouillon to make a vegetarian pasta sauce to go with my ziti and spinach. This is a great emergency budget meal for a family of 4 that comes in at $2.26. There are 14 grams of protein in 2 servings of pasta. I know in my family, we do usually eat about 2 servings of pasta per person, and there are 9 grams of total protein in the spinach. So that would be about 16 grams of protein per person in this emergency meal. The spinach provides calcium, iron, potassium, and vitamin A, and this meal has no cholesterol. It doesn't seem to have a lot of water in it, but I think I'm going to go ahead and drain this anyway. I made the sauce the way I made the last one, with a little bit of oil and flour, and then just adding water and my not chicken bouillon. I want a consistency of a thick sauce, but not too thick. So I'll keep adding water until I get it to where I want it. I'm using a small pan here because I'm only preparing dinner for myself. I'll add the sauce and the noodle mixture to the pan and heat them up before serving. Anytime I've made pasta, it's always turned out better when I've made just 2 servings per pan, because I think the ratio between the sauce and the pasta is very important, and it becomes more difficult to gauge the more servings you have in the pan. You also want to make sure that your pasta is al dente, otherwise this will end up tasting gross. But then again, I think all soggy pasta is gross. If I were serving 4 people, I would have 2 pans going on the stove. If you don't want the hassle, you could just place the pasta mixture in the bowls and then pour the sauce over the top, but it might not be quite as good. This is delicious. I'm wondering how this would be with canned spinach. If so, this would be a great meal that you could make with all shelf-stable items. If anyone's ever tried that, let me know in the comments down below. If you wanted to bulk this up, you could serve it with some crusty bread. I'm thinking about that French bread that they sell at Walmart. Or you could also make this a meat dish by adding in some of the canned chicken, or you could also add in some Italian sausage. A rep from Liquid IV reached out to me to see if I wanted to try their products, which is great because I actually have been wanting to try them. So let's see what they sent me. This one is a lemon lime electrolyte drink mix called the Hydration Multiplier. Okay, it looks like they have the little packets inside that you add to your water bottle. Or if you're like me, I actually have a water jug that I carry around. Let's see what else. They sent an energy multiplier. Kind of wondering where they get the energy from. This one is yuzu pineapple. Okay, it looks like it's coffee berry energy extract. So that's good. Sounds natural. And then they sent these 2 little boxes. One is acai berry and passion fruit. Passion fruit is actually my favorite. I've never been a huge fan of acai berry, but my youngest son really loves that one. So here's my hydro flask that I use pretty much every single day of my life. Keeps my water nice and cold. I'm going to add water to about this line because you're supposed to have 16 ounces of water, and this is a 24-ounce jug. So the first one I'll try is the passion fruit, because I think that's probably going to be the one I like the best. This would be great for your post-workout drink because it's great for hydration. So for anybody that's doing the workout thing, I've actually been running a lot lately. So I could see myself using this as a post-run drink. And the flavor was nice. It was really mild, not very sweet, and it was very refreshing. They've given me a discount for you for 20% off if you want to try their products. The discount code is Ardent_Michelle. I'll put that as well as a link in the description area. And then I tried the acai berry next. This is not my favorite flavor. I think the passion fruit's going to be my favorite. I also did try the energy multiplier, and that definitely gave me a little boost in energy, which was nice. So I'll probably use that one, and also the passion fruit hydration drink. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any low-cost budget tips for me, please leave them in the comments below or email me so that I can share them with others. If you're struggling to purchase food, you might want to watch my How to Save Money on Groceries video, and I'll link that in the description area. Thanks again for watching, friends, and I'll see you next week.